Good morning, 99. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Hello, good morning. Name is Ace, I'm a hobbyist. Nappy Roots kind of dig. That's good. That's very good to hear. It's always a good day. If I can help it. My name is Ace, I'm a hobbyist. We're going to be doing some art, of course, continuing on with this grayscale here. All right. I'm making art for, well, not this, but with this piece, I'm trying to determine how my webcomic is going to look. So we're going to try to combine some hatching, some dark shadows here, some very strong shadows, some color. I'm going to see if all those elements together would be good for the webcomic. I'm not really worried about how long it's going to take because I know I can do something like this within a reasonable amount of time. I know we've been working at it, whittling at it here and there. Um, that is because of the time that I have right now. But when it comes down to it, when we start doing pages in the future, so I have a piece of food that just got knocked loose. I just ate breakfast. When we start doing pages, I'm definitely going to be zeroed in. Okay. Hey, studio. Good morning. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to. We're gonna. I want to see if this is what I want to go with my web comic. But yeah, when we start doing pages, what I'm gonna do is I'm thinking about going live with a just put on your dude. I'm What I'm thinking about doing is when I do pages is to go like just come on with a rough idea of how the panels will look and just go from there. That way it's just a nice even flow here. Working on the shadows. We're gonna get started now. Yes. I figured it out. I don't know. It was just that day. I think there was a ACC in my own business. I don't know where I get straight. Yes, I see. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. um, yeah. I forgot what I was saying. We're working on mesh. We're working on a 3D mesh. I'm still doing it. I got a couple thousand more polygons to paste. I whittled down on that. I didn't want to keep doing streams, so we're just doing a thing here. I don't know which one I will be done with first. Either it looks like it's gonna be this before I get done with that. So you'll probably see another idea or something from this little universe that I made up sometime soon. I'm trying to decide what the next thing is going to be while I'm working on this. But that won't be too much of a big deal. I feel like I don't really have a problem with figuring out what to draw. It's more like how to draw it. So yeah, we're just going to get started here. We're working on shadows. I'm gonna start putting them in now. You know what I was doing. You ever wake up? You ever go to sleep, right? You go to sleep and you're about to get a headache, right? You're like, oh man, I gotta get a headache, but I'm tired anyway. I might as well go to sleep. You don't take any medicine. You wake up, okay? It's like the headache put itself on pause. You wake up, you're still getting the headache as you're waking up, but by the time you get up, the pain suddenly starts going away. That's kind of what happened to me this morning. I should have just taken the aspirin before I went to sleep, but I figured since I was going to sleep, there was really no need. But it's subsided now, so everything's cool. I'm right there today. Also, I hate pausable headaches. Yeah, I'm like I had what 8 hours of rest. It's like why didn't the pain go away while I was asleep? But it just didn't. It's like no, you're not. We're not done yet. We're not done yet, Ace. 99. What is your? I was looking at social media um about anime, right? Apparently, there's people out there who have a big problem with isekais, mainly because of like the common elements that kind of make them problematic. I want to know your thoughts about it. Since you know a lot more about current anime and manga than I do. Um, I was someone was I think it was what was it? Jobless reincarnation, something like that. It was some very troubling sounding plot elements in this isekai, but apparently the things that happen in this one are very common. Okay, I thought isekai was a new thing, right? But apparently it's been around since the 90s, and I've already known some titles, just didn't know they were classified as isekai. Okay, so at some point in the stream, can I pick your brain on types of 2D puzzles? Sure. I'm in the board camp also, but mostly for the fantasy or gaming ones. My mom's book series is an isekai. I've never heard of that. I know that some people tend to gravitate toward female lead isekais because they don't have the same trappings as the ones with a male lead. I don't know much about isekais other than I guess it has a lot to do with reincarnation or you go to another world. I know of Escaflowne. I've seen a little bit of that. I didn't know it was an isekai. I thought it was just I mean, obviously this is the staple of isekai, but I didn't think going like from one world to another would classify as an isekai. I thought it was a very specific thing. That's usually how genres are, right? It's like something like sort of specific, but I guess not. I don't know. 2D puzzles, yeah, sure. I'm going to put some shading here. When I'm gonna have since I have the light coming in from here, I'm gonna have this part a little bit lighter. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I've heard of I've heard that I keep people keep throwing on the title. So I'm a spider. So what? So I was thinking about reading it. I was thinking about seeing what's going on here with these isekais and just like trying to like just get into one to try to see what's what it's all about. So I see people post about them a lot on social media. The spider one sounds funny. Yeah, there's so many of that genre. Narnia, Digimon, Peter Pan. Yeah, 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 yeah. I guess they would. I guess those titles would count. Never really thought of it that way, Peter Pan. But when I think isekai, apparently there's something a little more specific than that going on these days that people are kind of tired of. And of course, there's all the stuff with webtoons. Apparently, it's very popular in webtoons and whatnot. So I got some. I actually have some things that I took down as just as a mild interest here. I have a separate isekai list that people have that I've seen people recommend over and over, not to me, but just in general. And I am going to share it with you. Okay. Saint's magic power is omnipotent. Potent, magical revolution of the reincarnated princess. I'm in love with the villainess. I shall survive using potions in the land of Ledale. Why Rayliana ended up at the Duke's mansion. Apparently, that's a favorite. Villainous level 99. I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the demon lord. That sounds interesting. I am the villainous, so I'm taming the final boss. Okay. These ones I've heard. Potions, yes, of course. Right up your alley. Potions. Potion, right? Potion. See what I did there? Wow, a bomb. I'm in. Let's see. They are tired of the gaming and fantasy ones. The main trope is a loser goes to a game world or other world, and it's just super OP. Yeah, I know that there's some. I've heard of some of the tropes, like the main character brings something from his or her world that makes them super strong. Um, but people have a problem with how they treat the female characters, and apparently it's a very common thing in isekai. I just wanted to know what your thoughts of that are, because it's something I keep seeing over and over, and I'm always curious as to what the heck is going on because I never read one. So yeah, potion, potions, right? I like Shield Hero. Okay, I'll put that in there. I think I've heard that one. Shield Hero. That is now on the list. I spelled it wrong. I put Shield Code Hero because I kind of fat fingered the keyboard. My keyboards are so sensitive. If I lightly brush a key, it just types like two or three letters. Uh, because they put him in there, he's the weakest, not the strongest. I like fan service, so I'm a bad person to ask. It's not inherently a bad thing, but there are some things that are like super questionable. Like even for me, like I'm like, all right, because my creations are a little on the mature side. It's not like, oh, Candyland stuff, right? But they're apparently they're doing stuff that like I'm like I definitely I wouldn't even think of putting in my stories. I relate 60% keyboard over here. Yeah, and I got two of them, and they're all. I type on the wrong one. So I'm like, I just hope I'm not in someone's chat and I type in my password or something like that. That's like my biggest fear. And there was one time when I almost thought I did that. I had to like keep double checking the chat and then scrolling up. Yeah, because I have a dual PC setup. I got a PC over here, this is where the streaming one is, and this is where you're looking at over here. I think I've sent you a picture of both of them. They're relatively similar. They're very very colorful. A lot of RGB. I could At the time I built them, I couldn't really find anything non RGB. I think there is a company that only makes non RGB stuff, but it's you know more expensive because apparently that's a thing. I don't know. I don't really mind the lights or the colors. I keep them all uniform, so it's all unicorn vomit. But um, yeah, I don't know if it's like a drain on power. I don't think it is, but I guess people just don't like all the lights, or at least some people don't. I don't really care, to be honest. As long as it works, as long as it can do what I want it to do, I don't care how it looks. Yeah, 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 yeah. That was right that was almost a year ago. I was supposed to start then, like last year, but things just kept popping up, so I couldn't. Um, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I think the light was, even if it was a reflective light, I think this won't be completely shaded in. So what I'm going to do is what we got. What is this? What is happening now? Oh, the opacity somehow changed. I don't know when that happened. So we're going to leave the spacing alone and put the opacity to 100. I'm attempting to think of a show that of that in that genre that I can fully endorse, and I'm struggling. Yeah, that's what apparently a lot of people have that problem. And I really didn't pay attention to the isekais like that. I know Typo, he talked about them a lot because I think he likes that genre, and he would be the person to ask about this, but he's not. He's currently not around, so I mean, I can't. So I'm asking anyone in the chat and anyone listening to this what the dealio is. um, yeah, I think the shadow. I don't think it'll come that far. So what I'm gonna do is I wish I had a mesh of this character because then I could just simulate it in Blender, which is my goal. But in for my webcomic, to anyone who doesn't already know this, I make the meshes and use them as reference. I don't have a reference for this. I just have like a Bob leather jacket, things like that, because I want to see if I can get the environment. This will be blue. this field will be green. So I want to try to see if I can reflect that off of the leather jacket here. And I've seen some pictures of where you can observe that, and I want to see if I can replicate that here. The only thing I've ever reflected was a water, like water. Let's see, Shield Hero. Yeah, that's already on the list. I got that. I can't recommend Hero for Ace. I'll take a look at it anyway, since it's already been recommended. I already put it down. I'll take a look at it. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I'm just trying to see what's going on with these isekais because I see people talk about them a lot, especially in regards to webtoons. But I haven't really gotten into a webtoon yet. And apparently, there was some stuff that happened that people were they were advertising a physical copy of their webcomic on Webtoons, and Webtoons was taking it down. They were erasing the ad. I don't think I'm going to use Webtoons, but instead I found yet another place to put my art. And instead, in case in case I finally decide like I'm not going to use Webtoons, if they're going to do things like that, because I'm going to have my own domain, which I meant to buy yesterday. I meant to get a domain set up yesterday, but I kind of forgot about it. I guess I'll try to do that today at some point. Um, I get my domain name ready so I can start advertising the name of my webcomic. And I have to what in the world is this? I'm gonna give you the name of what I found. It's called Nami Kami. Apparently it's fairly new. Nami Kami. I'm gonna type that in the chat. Nami Kami. This is the name of it. Apparently it has an app, but I think it's invite only, but they do have a website. And I'm gonna check that out. Because I don't know if my comic can exist on Webtoons. If it's not something that I'm going to have to, because I'm going to have to censor some of it for because of their strict rules. Only in this country, of course. If I lived in France or Italy, it probably wouldn't have to restrict it as much. But it's whatever. I would have conceded to that, but apparently now they have a problem with you sending people to other places, which I'm going to have my own domain, so it's kind of a problem for me. So I might not be able to use Webtoons. There, thank you, right there. To all who are interested in that, you might find something good on there too for besides whatever you're into currently. I'm on the lookout because what I'm going to try to do is that a command? I don't know the commands. I'm going to look into it. We're going to have commands at some point. And probably a bot. I don't know anything about that stuff. I just figured out how to put all the stuff, all the about stuff in the panels down below the viewing screen. I just figured that out. I didn't know how to do that, because I initially just saw the extensions, but I was like, well, okay, I need to put something there, so I put something there. Anyways, yeah, I'm still working out all that stuff. I'll get to it eventually. Yeah. All right, so I think let me see here. Think I'm gonna do a different layer now. Oh yeah, I'll um I'll take a look at the permissions for both of yous for links. If there's any links, I'll just have just only you two 99 and you can post links for the time being. I don't want people posting links to stuff that shouldn't be posted to. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this layer. And it's gonna be as a clipping mask. So that way, if I do something stupid like this, it's only gonna stay within the gray I've already done. Clipping mask is pretty good for that. That's not something I normally use, but it's something that I picked up fairly recently. So, I usually just stick to really bare bone stuff when it comes to digital art. It's mostly freehand, but I'm slowly starting to incorporate all the little tricks of that come with doing digital art that you can't do in real life, pen and paper. I try my best to stick to basic brushes so I could switch between back and forth without, like, oh no, I can't I can't transform, on paper, things like that. But I don't think it matters at this point. I feel like I'm I have enough to switch between the mediums at will. But at the beginning, that was a worry for me. I didn't want to lose my skill with pen and paper or pencil and paper. But you can just always draw. There's always that. You can always just draw on paper at the end of the day, so it's not really a big deal. I'm gonna put a second layer of shadows here. It's not gonna be this dark. I'm just establishing the shading, the various shadings. Once I put the color on, it should match with the current outdoor lighting. It's not so contrasty. Like it's right now, you probably might get an idea of like maybe the sun is rising, but no, it's going to be like midday. It's going to look weird because it's going to look darker or a stronger contrast because of its grayscale, but it'll fix in from it being a white background, which it won't be eventually. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting thing. A thing for isekais that people were like, they're like, man, I'm tired of this. I'm like, oh, all right, what's going on? There's a lot. I'm gonna get into a webtoon though, even though I might not put my work on it because I don't know if it's a good idea at this point. I do still want to read one just to see, what people are doing with webtoons, get an idea. Maybe I might like something there. Um, I'm still catching up on some Marvel comics that I have, and I got but I've been looking really heavily into indie. I found some good recommendations. Well, at least they seem good. Like Do a Power Bomb. I heard that one was really good, so I went ahead and got it. It's about wrestling and people really like it. So I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll check it out." I haven't read it yet though. I'm still in the 1970s right now with X-Men. So it'll be a while. I would recommend my mom's, but only in novel form. Yeah, apparently there's like very various differences. I know the anime is a little more fan servicey for a lot of isekai, and I think that's where most of the problem is with that people are having. But apparently there's some differences between the light novels, uh, manga, and anime. I never really got into any of the light novels. I've seen the only manga that I really read was Naruto. You don't really have that stuff in Naruto. It's just all action and shonen stuff. But um, yeah, I saw what was it? Skeletons. What was it? It's a skeleton. I can't remember. I can't remember what it was called. I have it bookmarked on my computer, but I'm not gonna look it up now. And I saw some of Goblin Slayer. That's a little well, if you know anything about Goblin Slayer, you know what I'm about to say. It's a little it's very very assaulty. We'll say that. It's very very centered around that. It's kind of weird, but everything else about it is all right. It's just, there's a lot of assault in there, like bad assault. And apparently there's a lot of animes. There was one that I really didn't like. It was like the main character was one of the goblins. I can't remember what it was called. But he can level up. He can level up. He can turn into different goblins and whatnot. It's like an evolution tree or whatever. But he's on the side of the goblins, and they were like, it seemed like they were trying to justify the need for assaulting. I mean, obviously, that's how they increase their numbers, but I don't know. I didn't. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way, so I stopped reading it. It's yeah, it's something. I don't know, but apparently, it's a common thing in those types of stories. I don't know. Oh, in Tower of God, I think that is a webtoon. As a matter of fact, I think Typo had put me onto that. It actually seemed interesting. I didn't read too far into it, but I do have that bookmarked, and I'm gonna have to go back to that one of these days. Wait, that's not. Hold on, I'm just rereading what you said, Studio. Do you mean that is that the title, or is your actual mom making a is your actual mom does she have a story, or is that the title? Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought that was the title, like, because you said, hold on, let me scroll up real quick. Because you said, my mom's book series is an isekai. I thought that was the title of the story. Because, they have what I just said, like, I'm a spider, so what? It's like really casual titles. And I thought that was one of them. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Yeah, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, my bad. I totally misunderstood what you said. Very interesting. Very interesting. Hers is called The Red Tree. All right. I get the confusion how because they have absurd names. Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like an isekai. But oh, it's your actual mom has made this. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. The Red Tree. Matter of fact, before I forget, it's very much lately. I've been spinning a lot of plates, so I'm more forgetful these days than ever before. The Red Tree. I'm gonna save that. Okay. Yeah, I gotta rotate. I gotta rotate my reading material. I'm still reading Dance of Dragons, and I was thinking about reading Dune again, but I was like, you know what? Why don't I just read something else? I just got done reading. I think the latest book that I read was Presumed Innocent, which is it was made into a movie, a Harrison Ford movie. It stars Harrison Ford, obviously, um, Raul Julia. I don't remember how his name is pronounced because he's been passed away for decades now. But he played M Bison in the Street Fighter movie. He's the lawyer. He's Harrison Ford's lawyer, and John McClane's wife uh in Die Hard. Bruce Willis's wife in Die Hard is in that movie as well. That reminds me, Kiss Quotient. Are these also animes or mangas or of some sort? Let me see. What I want to do here. Okay, we're gonna make these shadows a little heavier. I really want to add the hatching into my art, but I'm not very good at it. So I have it on a different layer, so I can try to see how it looks with and without. One of these days, I'm gonna show you my first attempts at it. It was very sloppy, but in a way, it was like I was like, oh, okay, I kind of want to go in this route, but I'm not really sure how I could make it work at the time. It was the first iteration of the design of my characters before I started making them into meshes. They are book club books. Okay. What did I want to read? I got into a series sometime during the pandemic. It was called Bosch. It's what was his name? something Tolliver. I don't remember his name, but I know his face. His face has been in a lot of movies. He plays this cop that was a veteran in the military, and he just solves various crimes. He's very Bosch von Rosenberg. No, that is not his name. He's named after Hieronymus Bosch, the artist, I think. Pretty sure he was an artist. But he's very hard boiled person, and they made a movie about he was a consultant on the movie, so he's able to live in the he lives near the Hollywood sign. He's like that little neighborhood up there. If you ever played Grand Theft Auto 5, where you got to go up and chase the guy up to the house, and you pull the house. Or Lethal Weapon, where they do the exact same thing, where he goes up and pulls the house down. Yeah, it's that area. He lives in that area, and he has to solve these crimes where it gets kind of it's a little personal, I guess. Like usually has some kind of connection to what's going on. In the show, it's been uh, modernized because in the books he is a Vietnam War veteran, and it's the early '90s. But in the show, it's been aged up to where he's in the latest Iraq, Afghanistan war, and he's in modern day. But the books are very interesting. I was reading the Black Echo. That is the book that I'm currently on, and he has about like 16 or so books from since then to now, and starring various people in his life and characters. And if you ever seen the movie The Lincoln Lawyer, that is his half brother. So that's technically the same universe as he, but I don't know if they make that connection in the movie because I have not seen The Lincoln Lawyer. The Lincoln Lawyer was Matthew McConaughey. It's a Matthew McConaughey movie, but that's basically the same universe. Interestingly enough, I need to see that. I said an FF12 quote. Okay, I haven't played that since it came out, and I didn't finish it, but I will probably on stream at this point. I don't remember anything about that game except being in the first area that you're able to fight monsters in. And I remember fighting a monster, and then suddenly there was this thing called a breeding had appeared. It was this big white monster that was just there. I guess it was an NM. It wasn't a hunt, but it was an NM. It just came out, and I was like, "What? What? They got NMs in this game too?" And then I killed it. I don't know how I made it spawn, but I know that if I fought in that area long enough, it would come out. So that was all I had to go. I didn't look up anything. So besides that and the red chocobo, I don't know really much about it. I went all in on the hunts though. I kept doing hunts that I wasn't supposed to do. I remember going into a cave and fighting this big cobra, and I was not even close to being ready for that, but I was able to kill it. Most of the enemies are plot or time related. Yeah, I think it was a time thing, but I'm not really sure. Like I didn't really look up. I didn't. I was like I didn't want to really look anything up at the time. I was like I'm going in on this blind. That's normally how I play games. It has to be something extremely like complicated or intriguing for me to look it up on the first playthrough. To look something up on the first playthrough, because usually nowadays if I try to look something up, even if it's just like some clarification on something, there's a big spoiler that comes with that. So I try not to do that stuff anymore. Like I just wanted to know something that was insignificant, and then something gets spoiled as a result. I'm like, why would they put that in the thing that I'm looking for that has nothing to do with that? But it happens. So that's why I was just like, okay, no more of that. Pretty please. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing all the Final Fantasies again, and I do mean all of them because I am going to play them all. Oh, I gotta start blending this in because it's starting to look a little camouflagey. Some you really should ignore. Yes, yeah, I get that. It's kind of like 11, where it's like, okay, yeah, this is here, but you don't really need to do anything with it. It's like this is here, but why? Yeah, I get it. I felt like, and I because I it felt so much like 11. I figured there were things like that. Like I think breeding was one of them. And the very first NM that I fought was one of those. It was like I don't have to fight this thing. It didn't really drop anything that I remember. I was just fighting it. I was just like grinding, you know. I like leveling up. That way I won't have any problems. I got all the way to I wasn't I think I was in the first town, but I made it all the way to where Bahamut spawns in the big sandstorm. And I could get it really low, but it kept doing this move that killed me. So I was like, dang, I gotta actually, play the game now. Now I may ignore some of the games. Do yourself a favor and just skip two. I get it. I get it. I wasn't, I was kind of dreading that, but yeah, you might be right on that. Just from based off of what I know from it, I might play it. I might try it. You might not. I might not have to beat it. I might try it. Like, yeah, I played it. I'll play them. I might not. I might necessarily have to beat them, even though I don't like doing that. But if it's something like, I'll tell you what, I'll play it until I get stuck because I know I'm gonna get stuck, and then I'll just stop playing playing it. Or I can just look it up. It's not really a big deal. Or you can just walk me through it. You can just walk me through it. I don't want to look anything up. I'll accept it. I beat it 3 times. It's by far a trash game. I tricked myself into it can't be as bad as I remember. I don't even. Oh yeah, there was one Driver San Francisco. Yeah, when I tried to play it again, I was like, nah, I can't. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it just wasn't a good time to play it. And then I played it, and I was like, nah, I still don't like this game. I like the vampire game. Which one? Vampire? I have Vampire for Steam. I think I got it on sale or something. And I have Vampire the Masquerade. I have not. I've been really saving that. I think I was always going to play that on stream at some point. Play that blind. It's like an open world Fallout game, but you're a vampire. And of course, you could be a vampire in Skyrim or Oblivion. I haven't played those yet either, but I will. I don't know why I said it like that. Sorry. I think I'm gonna put some shade right here since those lights right there. And I'll just blend this all in at some point in the near future. Vampire Survivor? Do you mean that? I know they just came out with a an expansion crossed over with Castlevania, I believe. Was it Castlevania or was it Contra? I don't remember. I haven't played that yet. I played Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, but I didn't play Vampire Survivor yet. Which I guess I don't know if that's the first game of its type, but it's the definitely like the one that got really popular, right? So I think. Like I said, I haven't played it yet, so I don't really know much about it. And I only seen like a little bit of gameplay because it was only like what $3. I was like, at this point, for that price, it doesn't really matter if it's good or bad. I could just play it. It was $3. I was like, yeah, okay. No game is that bad to where I feel like I wasted $3, right? I mean, if it's an actual game, that is, not a scam, because that's the thing. They added Contra and Castlevania. Yeah, I've seen both of those. Are those free DLC? I don't know. Stop it, Will. These pictures and movies and stuff that play when you mouse over. I really wish they didn't put that in. Anyways, they are $2 each. Oh, okay, that's not a big deal. The vampire game that 99 loves. Is that Bloodstained? Is that a vampire game? Which vampire game have you been playing? 99. Maybe I want to be a vampire one day. I don't know. I haven't really. I'm indifferent about vampires. I can't even remember oh yeah, Legacy of Kain might be the last vampire game that I played. You know how old that game is? That's like late 90s. I was like, oh yeah, I remember reading about that in a magazine. We were like, oh yeah, you can get bone armor. You can throw saw blades. I was like, oh man, yeah, that sounds like something I want to play. Yeah, saw blades. Get these spells called putrescence. I don't. I guess you just throw a sickness on them and it explodes them for some reason. I don't know. I don't really necessarily know the lore behind that. But you play as a noble who just gets killed at a bar for no reason whatsoever. That I know of. I don't know. Maybe there was a reason. I think somebody sent those people to kill him, but basically you start the game off at an inn, and then you get into an unwinnable battle, and even if you can kill them, they just keep sending them until you die. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, you get killed, and then you go to hell, of course, and then you get a chance at revenge, and then you get sent back as a vampire, and then you're just a bad guy now. Well, I guess you're sort of like riding a line of anti-hero to you know uh I guess you would call it like I wouldn't say maybe a neutral villain because you can kill innocents, for blood if you need blood. You're basically the villain. Right? You can play a villain, and then I guess at some point you just become a villain. I don't know, but it's like a top-down isometric. Just think Diablo One. It's more top-down than Diablo is, but it's like that, and you do spells and swords. Vampire Hunter D. Is that new? Last Vampire Hunter D game that I know of was from PS2, I think. PS2, or was it Dreamcast? Something. I don't know. Nah, it's a PS2 game. Oh, I've never seen it. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen pictures of it, but I've never actually seen it in action. The only anime game that I remember from that time was Berserk on Dreamcast. I saw somebody playing that recently too. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. One of my friends had it. It didn't look appealing to me at the time. I never really got into Berserk, but I do remember that game. PS2 game. Is Gungrave an anime? I remember that game. That game was kind of cool where you just walk around with a it's like this guy, he's got like a hat and a coat, and he's got this he carries this coffin, but the coffin's like full of guns. I was like, yeah, all right. It's pretty badass. And then he can like swing the gun around. He can swing the coffin around and it becomes a big gun, like an energy gun. And you just kill like waves of people. I guess it was more like Devil May Cry kind of something like that. But it always struck me as something that actually existed. I just wasn't really sure. The friend was 99. No, no, I would have said that. It was someone else that I don't think 99 knew. Someone that really did that I had a feeling that this person didn't actually watch anime like that, but they had that game. It was very curious thing. Like, what made you get that game? But then again, you had uh Marvel versus Capcom 2, and he had Metal Gear Solid 2, and he has a phobia of snakes. Curiously, he didn't get 3 for that reason, because you can go in the jungle and look for snakes and find them and eat them. He's very afraid of snakes, like Indiana Jones, but probably worse than Indiana Jones. Like it seemed like a legit phobia. He was like, I don't, I'm not a. He's like, I can't do snakes. I'm not getting 3. I'm like, oh, all right, dang, didn't know it was like that. D is such an armature game with too many. Oh, amateur game with too many poor game design trappings. So many that it's like, how did more than one person make this and miss these problems? Probably budget and deadline. It behooves me that people love Dororo anime and know nothing about Devil May Cry. I don't know. I'm the other way around. I know Devil May Cry, but not Dororo. I'll take a look at it though. Actually, I think that's on my list. I would pull it up right now, but I'll do it later and see. I think Dororo is on my list, but I'll remember that. They made an anime from the story in Devil May Cry. Huh. I know it's pretty complicated now, the story. I think he was just, I don't know. I don't even remember the story because I've only played I played 1 and 2 one time. I tried 3. I tried 4. I got 5 on sale on Steam, but I didn't try that. I didn't play it yet. But I know there's like a whole thing, now they got kids and there's all these multiple characters and Virgil and Dante and their brothers and all this stuff. But I'm not. I know it's more. The story's a little more complicated now, but yeah, I heard that 3 or 5 was really good. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll get back into the series, and I played it. I did enjoy four the little bit of time that I played it because one of my friends had it, and I tried it while I was over his house. But that's definitely a franchise that I'll be willing to play through on stream. I just hope I don't hurt my hands with all that button pressing. I was playing Guile on Street Fighter 6. If you remember, the girl's name is Dororo. Oh, I remember Trish, Lady, unless that's like they have like a Japanese name that's like, or a name that's different from the American version that I don't know about. I don't know. I'm not really too keen on the story or its characters. I just remember Dante and Virgil and Lady and Trish. No, Ace, they were like the enemy off screen will one shot the player. You have to load and reload the RNG. Oh my god, no. That's a little okay. Yeah, that would be very frustrating to get one shot off screen. What in the world? Oh man. When did that game come out? Vampire Hunter D. Do you remember? I remember seeing it. I just don't remember what year it came out. Because I could tell you if you remember the year it came out, I can tell you exactly what I was playing on PS2 at the time, and the reason why I didn't because I knew Vampire Hunter D and I did like the anime. Good morning, Trig. They really said let's make people hate this game. Oh, it was in the nine. It was 99. December 9th, 1999. Let's see. I had just I was trying at December 9th. Nope, that was before. Let's see. Probably Smash Brothers over Juan's house was at the time anyway. I think my PlayStation had stopped working at the time. Yeah, a couple months before that, my PlayStation had stopped working. I plugged up. I was unborn 99. Was it 8 or 9? I was playing FF8 99 1999. Yeah, I remember that's when I tried FF8 over your house. I was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. I was like, yeah, you know what I said? I remember that. I was like, yeah, this is better than 7. That was for some reason that was the one that I was gonna get in on. I was gonna fully latch onto this and be like, yes, this is the next big game here. Okay, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be better than 7. Seifer's better than Sephiroth. Boy, was I wrong. Sephiroth will dog walk Seifer, man. I don't know why. I don't know what the heck I was on. I was on drugs on that one. I do like eight to a point, but that's only because I don't know the story. I didn't really get off disc one. I think I got to disc two once. It's only because I didn't own the game. Damn, it was a bad game. I vaguely remember the poster. I had that poster on my wall. Final Fantasy 8. Yeah, I was into it, man. I was like, yeah, 8. I felt like they were moving further away from the fantasy stuff. I wasn't really into like fantasy stuff in those days. I was like, forget all the knights and whatnot, man. We got freaking gun blades. I was like, that's way better than a freaking warrior, a sword warrior. You got a sword and a gun and a trench coat. I don't know what it was about trench coats. It was thought it was badass. It's too bad. Real world events kind of ruined that a little bit. But I still like Blade. So, and the Matrix. Trench coats were iconic. Yeah, you got a trench coat, you got a sword, you got a gun and a sword in one, and you got magic. It's like what's not to like, right? And then not on top of that, but you go to school for this. That was a new concept for me. I wasn't really, I know there was plenty of animes where you go to you have an education system that teaches you how to be a warrior or a fighter. That was still a new. I didn't really see those types of animes back in the day. So that was a new concept to me. I thought that you know, all the whole concept of gardens and ranks, the things that are very common in anime, by the way, that was new to me in 8. So I was really on board with that. If I only knew, right? Pink hair. That wasn't, I didn't know any too many pink hair characters. Actually, I didn't know any. I don't remember, I don't think I've seen any pink hair characters until much later, you know, when I wasn't really paying attention to anime like that anymore. Um, didn't a character from Fooly Cooly have pink hair? I don't remember. That's like one of the animes that I did see when I wasn't really paying attention to them. One of my friends, Typo, he was like, "Nah, this one's pretty good. I'm gonna go back on that one." And so I took a look at it when it was on Toonami, and I was like, "Yeah, all right." You know, it was like nice little coming of age story, and it's got some fantastical elements to it, but I thought it was all right. Blade the Trench Coat 2, that was mid '90s, unless I'm wrong. Yeah, Blade came out in '98. Blade was a big influence on one of my main OCs. My main OC, Dread, he was very much like Spawn. Matter of fact, I think he started off as a Spawn recolor, and then I saw Blade, and I was like, okay, it's time to turn in the cape and give him a trench coat. That was like one of the biggest changes going forward to that character. You're gonna see that character again. It's most likely gonna be the next thing I draw if I don't get the topology done on time before I'm done with this picture. I'll probably try to redesign that character on stream. It's a very horror-esque character, and I want to uh to try making an animation using that. It's going to be a psychological thriller. It's going to be like in a vein of Jacob's Ladder. That's like I want to do, but more actiony and like James Bondy too. I think I mentioned that before, like a James Bond horror, but with very psychological elements to it. Like I wanted to try doing something like that. I know nothing about. I'm not an expert on either of those, so that's going to be quite a challenge. I like challenging myself though, and I'm an amateur writer, but I have a feeling that I can, if I really like put my mind to it, I can try to make something at least that won't be a complete waste of time. It's the best way I can describe it. Uh, but yeah, we'll see. You know, as soon as I'm done editing, I'm in my reference Discord, because I think I think I'm gonna make a separate Discord for this channel one day. I don't know, like if there's a big enough interest, I'll do it. But in the reference Discord, as soon as I'm done editing, I'm going to post the story there, and then you can read it and you can tell me what you think about it. You know, before and hopefully if there's any changes that need to be made, you can let me know, and before I set it in stone and start posting pages on my domain. Because I really would like to know your thoughts on that. But yeah, Blade was a pretty big influence on my character. I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. I even gave him I gave him a sword too. It wasn't like a sword. It wasn't like a ninja sword. It was still like a more like a fantasy esque sword, like a bastard sword or a long sword. But it wasn't like the it's not really not necessarily katana because katanas are curved. His sword was straight. It was a double edged. It was like almost like a double edged katana, but it was completely straight. I think they have a name for it. I don't think that's actually a sword though. I think that's just something that's only in fiction. I could be wrong though. But yeah, trying to get the I wouldn't say the fabric, but the wrinkles, the shadow and the wrinkles right here with the trench coat. It's a very thick material, so I'm trying not to make it look like a shirt. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to start blending in some of these colors here. Or not colors, but the shadow. I need a brush. Do a brush for the skin. Lightning has a gun, a sword gun, a trench coat, a cocktail dress, a scythe, and a bad attitude. Oh man, yeah, Lightning has everything. I've seen that. I've seen um Lightning Returns. That she's highly customizable. That's pretty cool. That game looked really fun too. I really want to play that Lightning Returns. So I was like, okay, that game alone made me want to play through all of 13 again. Not again, but because I tried the first 13, but I just wasn't into it at first. I was like, I don't know. I guess I just didn't feel like playing it. But when I saw that game, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try to play through this series and get it. Plus, I haven't really played an RPG in a long time anyway. JRPG, that is. That is not what I want. Oh, no wonder. I'm on the wrong bus. I'm supposed to be on Smudge. And yeah. The game looked really good. Really good. I completely missed 13 too though. I don't know anything about. I remember somebody was getting. The only thing I remember is somebody was getting married, and then I think this was at the beginning of the game. Somebody was getting married, and then it got interrupted or something, and some stuff happened. That's the only thing I remember. I was over someone's. No, I was it was my roommate, and then I went to sleep because I was watching him play it, and I woke up and he was done with the game. I was like, oh, I completely missed the game. I was like, oh, he was playing Lightning Returns when I woke up. Oh, I must have been tired from work or something. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if you can actually beat that in one sitting. I just know that I missed it. I could have maybe I went to work or something. I don't know. I only saw a very small part of that game, so I don't really know much about it. And see, I want to use a brush that kind of gives like a skin esque texture. I think it was this one. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I think this is the one that I used on my offline screen. I was testing out a bunch of brushes, and that was one. It was a specific brush. I think it was this one. It made kind of gave it a skin texture. I want to see if this is the one. I kind of forget. It's been a while since I've done a digital art piece like this, which is a person. I just did very basic animation for this channel. Yeah, I think this is the one. I'm just gonna try to like this area here. Oh, you know what? I forgot a. I'm sorry. I'll get that later because this should be. This is more. This is gonna be a different surface, but it's also gonna be shaded. I kind of forgot. And of course I cross hatched here. Like I did very minimal cross hatching. That's where the shadow will be darkest at. But I think I'll wait until I apply another shade of darkness and do that. And even though she's outside, there's going like this is going to be secondary light, like from bouncing off of. Well, maybe not her jacket, but just from the general area. It's not going to be completely shaded in, even though it looks like that's going to be the case because I'm doing it grayscale. But I think it'll turn out the way I want it. Normally, when I do this, I'm very close. I go in very close, but I haven't really been doing that. I really I did a lot of this like for zoomed out. I normally don't do that because I used to make a lot of mistakes when I be zoomed all the way out like that. But I seem to be doing okay in that regard. I don't know. I think the sculpting has somehow helped me draw a little bit better, just a little bit. Kind of glad I learned it. It was very fun learning that. I'm still learning it. I make just a little shade here. This will probably be some kind of blush on top of this shadow here. Just a little bit of shadow. So the light's coming in a little bit more from sideways rather than on her face. I want to use a different shading for that. I think I have something for hair. And I'm just gonna soften some of these a little bit. And keep some hard edges here, like on the nose and on the neck too, and the shadow that this lapel is, or the collar is casting. I don't know if that's actually a lapel. I'm just gonna call it a collar, not a tailor. Okay, I'm sorry. Lapel, collar, whatever. Keep that hard. I'll probably just do it a little bit since that is skin. So I want to try to let me zoom in here. Maybe I need to make this bigger, but yeah, I guess you probably won't see that in the thing, and I'll do it with color as well. But not. I mean, I should make the brush a little bit bigger so I can see that better. But it gives a nice skin texture. It's like makes it a little porous, even though porous probably wouldn't be that big. I probably should have left that alone. Pores ain't gonna really be that big, but it's nice to have some kind of texture there. Maybe if she was zoomed in a little bit more, if it was just like the face, you could probably get away with doing a little like the texture a little bit more, but I think it's fine. I think it'll be all right. It'll be a nice learning experience to see how it turns out. If it doesn't turn out right, then I'll probably just think of another way to put texture on the piece. But I like these brushes. Normally, I would just use the basic brushes. Slowly and surely, been moving away from them. Okay, let me. I have one that kind of gives a leather look as well. See how that goes. I don't remember which one. I think it was this one. This brush is like very large. I don't know if I should even try to use it at 400. But I don't know. It doesn't really show as much when it's small. I had this problem before. I might have to leave it at 400 and just try to not shade things that shouldn't be shaded. Okay. See, it's kind of large, and it's. Let me see. Hold on. Let me look at my jacket reference. All right. I mean, yeah, I guess. Well, not there, of course. Maybe not there. Let me go back. But on the jacket, maybe. I guess that could make it more leathery, right? It's more of like a coat you would see, like, I don't know. I feel like this more like the leather jacket a cowboy would wear. That doesn't seem like the same leather that you see on a black jacket. I could be wrong though. I don't know. I've never wore a leather jacket, so but by the looks of the picture here that I'm looking at, as far as the texture, to try to get this right, it kind of does have this kind of texture to it. At least if it's real leather, anyway. I don't know. You have the pleather that's really shiny. Like I guess isn't that like pleather is like something? It's shiny like what Trinity wore on the Matrix. I think I don't know. I don't know if that's latex. If that was a latex suit or like a pleather suit. I feel like it's a pleather suit because I don't know if latex is that durable. I don't know if you can actually fight in latex and right and whatnot. It always seems like something that would rip or whatever. But like I said, I could be wrong. I've never wore a latex suit. I don't think that's something a guy would wear, right? Unless you're like into that sort of thing. I don't know how else to unless you like wearing latex suits, but yeah, I don't know. You mean that white stripper onesie? Um, you know how Trinity wore on the Matrix, but it was like the all black or like Black Cat or Catwoman from Batman Returns, like that. That's not latex, I don't think. I think that's I don't know. It could be latex. I don't think it's that durable. You can't be fighting in that, right? I feel like it's like a pleather, like a fake leather. Who was the all white suit girl? All white suit girl on the Matrix? I don't know. Yeah. Oh, that was Switch, but I don't think that was a leather suit. It was like she had like a tomboyish look. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She had like a tomboyish look. It was like a regular suit, like a collar and a jacket suit, like a blazer. Like she had like a regular suit, but it was just white. I don't think she had anything leather. I'm gonna Google it. Maybe my memory is making a onesie. Yeah, I don't think she had a onesie. Um. Oh yeah. Let me do this shirt here. Just a little bit. That way the lines aren't so night and day. They kind of blend in a little bit. This one I am. I've kind of forgot. Let's do that. Oh, why is this brush like super large? I'm gonna leave it like that. Why not? I want to stay in mid-tones for so I'm not gonna go any I'm not gonna try to change that any further. I'm gonna stay in mid-tones because I feel like that works better for the way I do grayscale. I'm using the burn tool, and this is the range to stay in midtones. And I usually go 2 or 3 shades darker or lighter, either way. When I first started doing grayscale, I was just using different shades of gray willy nilly, and it didn't really. It ended up being overshaded when I colored it, very blurry. It was very hard on the eyes. I was of course used to it because I couldn't see it because I was the one drawing it and looking at it. But other people were telling me when I was posting my art online, other people were telling me that it looked overshaded, and I didn't notice it until they said it. And I was like, oh man, okay. So my counter to that was just to do like stronger lines and heavier darts, and it came out really sloppy. One day I'm gonna show that on because I have all my art that I did when I first started, and it was very 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 sloppy because I was still trying to learn how to do digital art. I wasn't used to going on a tablet, and then on top of that, I had taken a few years of not drawing, so it kind of all compounded into one thing. I probably should have spent a little bit more time on my earlier works in digital art before I posted them. But I was very excited to learn a new medium, and I just said screw all that, so I just posted it. didn't really it's really caution to win, but it taught me a lot because I got the critique that uh, I was looking for. Now that doesn't look like, oh, no wonder, because it's a brush and not the burn tool. And we don't want to burn it yet. I'm gonna use smudge. I wasn't really good with the smudge tool either, and it's a very tricky brush to use. I liked her character in the Matrix. Matrix still a movie I haven't fully seen fully from beginning to end with the intent to watch it and pay attention. Um, I like the Matrix. I actually have it on Blu-ray. It's all right. I feel like I don't know, even for the time when they did the second and the third movie, I felt like they didn't really shell out for the CGI. Like when you have movies from 1991 and 1993 with CGI that's better than the CGI in your movie, I think you kind of messed up. Like you got Jurassic Park and Terminator. Their CGI should not look better than the Matrix CGI. But I feel like getting humans right in CGI is kind of tricky because it's always with human characters when they do CGI. It looks weird as heck. I don't know. Maybe that's because of the uncanny valley, from being a human and you see a fake human, your brain can recognize that's not actually a real human. And it's kind of very off putting. That's probably part of it, and part of the reason why CGI humans don't look so great. There was that one because they had a really great scene. They had quite a few great scenes, like really cool ideas in the Matrix Reloaded that were kind of brought down a little bit by the fact that they tried to do CGI humans for some of the scenes. I see your CGI and raise you the bullet lean. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like they have all the camera trickery, right? To clone people. You have like a million Hugo Weavings. Like they can do that fine because they're using an actual person's face. But when they stop using wireframes for whatever reason, the thing that they've been using up until that point to do some of the things that they could have done with CGI instead, it I don't know, it kind of takes you out of it a little bit. It's very it just didn't look right to me. I felt like that kind of took away from the movie a little bit. Same thing with Blade 2. Like Blade, the second Blade, like the choreography they did all the way up until they fight in front of the lights, the big bright lights, and they start using the CGI characters. It was night and day. I was like, why didn't they just do that with wires or something? Anything other than the CGI. I don't like it when they mess up the CGI like that. Or when they use CGI. And I know it's a kind of the norm now. I think they've gotten a little bit better with it. There were some of those Marvel movies that they come out with. Some of the clothes they wore or the uniforms that they wore were actually CGI. Actually didn't know that. I couldn't tell because I haven't really been paying attention to things like that for a long time now. So it was easy to not see it. But um, I guess when you have something to compare it to, like in a fight scene, you're using actual when you see actual movement, and then you have CGI in the exact same scene, you can see the difference because they're side by side. So if they did scenes where someone has real clothes and then someone has CGI clothes, I'm sure I would be able to tell as well. But I wasn't really looking for that. I didn't think they would ever use CGI to that point to where they're like, okay, you know what? We're just going to CGI the uniform on instead of making actual uniforms. I feel like that would cost more too. It's like, why would they? Why wouldn't they just? Wouldn't it be cheaper to just make a suit out of actual fabric than to just computerize it? It's like, why would you bloat your budget like that? I'm sure there's reasons that I don't know, but um, yeah, I don't know. I don't get it personally. If it were me, I've always enjoyed practical effects more. That's way more impressive to me than computer stuff because technically I can do computer stuff at this point. It might not be as good as what you see on TV, but You know, in theory, I can do it. I've learned I can take my mesh and I can. I wanted to learn Nuke, but that's like $10,000 to get a license for that. I'm like, no thanks. I don't want to spend that much. I'm good. But they have you can get it. You can get the programs that they made the dragons in Game of Thrones with easily and learn it yourself. And I kind of wanted to do it, but it was like I'm not gonna spend that much on that. No, thank you. It's like EA, like a scene where the outfit gets cut, then on clothes has to be that same cut. Yeah, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense. That's probably easier to render on computer. Yeah, yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, yeah, that's actually a good point. You don't have to worry about continuity errors either. Well, I guess that's what you were saying. Yeah, yeah, still interesting. I need to get a bigger brush here. Oh, I always pick the regular brush and not smudge. I do that all the time. I'm sorry. All right. So now I'm going to blend in the darker with the light without, hopefully, without ruining it, without making it worse. Try to do. I really want to keep the cross hatching. I know it's starting to stand out a little bit more, but I can adjust the opacity. So I will definitely. I'm going to like test to see how I can blend that in. I think if I change the opacity, the black will blend into the color. This dude I'm fighting in PvP on Raid Shadow Legends, his name is Ricky Spanish. Who is that? I don't know who that is. Just some name that caught my eye off. Yeah, I'm always curious as to how people come up with their name. Me, I just if it's not Ace, if it's just not some variation of Ace, I'll make a character that's based off an OC or some concept for an OC, and then I'll play the game and develop that concept if it's not developed already. That's sometimes that's how I create characters is through video games. Like I'll just make a OC in a video game, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make this an actual character, and then just go from there. Or I'll play as a an OC that I've already made, and then develop that OC further. Like I would say, like and play the game that way. Like, oh, I don't think this character would make this decision at this point, or something like that. It's I don't know. It's just something I feel like it kind of helps create characters sometimes. My name is Pissed Red. Welcome back, 99. My name is Pissed Redhead, so I'm about as eye catching. I feel okay. Thanks for the template. This is mine now. Art Thief Reborn coming 2026. Art Thief. Yeah, I made recolors. All right. Yeah. So what? I did it. Yeah, I did it. I'm not ashamed of it. Okay. You got to start somehow. And apparently it's a very common thing. I made recolors when I was in elementary school. All right. At least I graduated from that in some way. I'm not gonna shy. I'm not gonna try to hide the fact that I that some of my work is influenced by existing things. I think that's a very common thing. But I'm going to make sure while keeping that inspiration in the design that it's going to be something uh somewhat unique. It's not going to be done the same way that it was done before. If I do it, at least I'm going to try. Unless there's something that like, oh yeah, I really like this inspiration, and I want to show that my work was inspired by this, like an homage or something like that. There are some cases where I was like, okay, I'm not going to really change this. I'm going to own the fact that this was inspired by. I think That's how in fact the volume that I've written for my webcomic, I want volume 2 to be more like a team book and have those types of ideas and tropes from a team book like X-Men. Basically what I'm saying is my volume 2 is going to be inspired by X-Men. I mean, it already is basically. These are things that have already been established. I've always had that idea, but that's what I want to do. What I'm saying is I'm stealing X-Men. I'm curious. I'm curious to see like the final result. I hope that I'll be able to do that, you know, in some point in the near future. But I'm curious to see if the parallels can be spotted because I'm not like while it's going to be inspired by X Men, it's not going to be X Men. Z Men, isn't that something? Z Men? I don't know. Y Men, yes, Y Men in the same universe. They have Y Men. Human, yeah, human, yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know about Z Men though. Not really sure. So I'm just gonna keep blending these things in here. I think Weidman was that was a team of people that relied on a mutant drug. They had a drug. They would extract the genes from mutants and turn it into a drug, and then regular people can take the drug and get powers. And they would just harvest them from captured mutants. I think that's what the Wymen were. And the X Men they found out about it and they're like, well, I guess you know the X Men now they push all the drugs these days apparently from what I'm hearing. But it was John Sublime was one of the villains of that arc, and it's basically a person that is made up of primordial bacteria from like the beginning of life, and apparently this bacteria can go into and control people, and that's how that was the person behind that, if I remember correctly. I think they did an anime on that story arc too. The anime was the X-Men anime was centered around that. Those black noir people. Yep, they were the drugs one. You men were the cybernetics. Oh yeah, like the Reavers. Got the guy with the tank treads for legs and the arm. What's the guy's name? Not Caliban. It was I can't remember. I keep wanting to say Caliban, but Caliban is the vampire looking dude. He was in the Logan movie, the guy with the metal arm. I can't remember his name. It's that guy. He was in the Reavers, but he wasn't a Reaver in Logan. He was just he but he's supposed to be a Reaver in the comic books. Oh, speaking of Logan, did anyone see that Deadpool? Well, I mean, anyone who still mildly cares about that, did they see? Did you see the Deadpool trailer? They released Deadpool. Donald Pierce. There, that's his name. Yeah, that is his name. He has a moniker, you know, but close enough. Donald Pierce. Um, did you see the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer? Seems interesting. Apparently, uh, it'll be out this summer. Wolverine's getting old, man. You can tell it doesn't matter now how jacked he gets. You can tell it. You can see. You start to see it now. They didn't CGI him or anything. It's like, man, this guy, he's really all in on this. You can see how he looks in X-Men 1 and how he looks now. He's more jacked now, but he definitely you can still see he's much older. Like they didn't really try to hide it or anything. Huge jacked man. So I'm gonna start calling him huge jacked man. I'm not gonna call him that. I don't remember his name aside from that. Google says it's what? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was his name like Cyber or something. I don't remember. Those Reavers are kind of shaky when it comes to the like my knowledge of the Reavers is kind of shaky. I remember Lady Deathstrike, Donner Pure. They were all in the same thing. I think Maverick is one of them. Um, there was a guy. There was another guy too. That's a cyborg that hates mutants. I can't remember his name though. His name is something. Um, he had something to do with like Department H or something like that. I don't remember. I haven't gotten to that part of the story yet, but I knew it, through other media. Not Stephen. No, Stephen Lang is an actor. His name was Lang, something Lang. He was an Asian guy, right? And he got, I don't know, something happened to his body, and his body was like all cyber, but he still has a human head. I can't remember his name though. Something Lang. I don't know. There's so many characters in X Men. I can't keep track of them all anymore. So many characters. There's too many characters. I think that's I have in total my webcomic I have 53 named characters in volume one of my webcomic, and I got to the halfway point of hashing out how they look. Like, and I think I was 20 characters in before I started actually making meshes of them. So I have a ways to go. But I'm gonna start doing pages after I get seven of them out of the way. I'm gonna try to do them all on the stream. We'll see how that goes. And these aren't main characters. These are just all the characters that appear. Some of them need. I feel like some messages are justified because just so I can get the perspective consistent with what they're doing in whatever given scene. Um, but yeah, for so many people involved with Weapon X, I'm surprised they were able to keep it a secret. Like, they have all these people in Weapon X, and it's like no one said anything about this. No one tried to blow this wide open to the public. I guess when you have a group of people that hate it, they kind of just turn a blind eye. I don't know if that point was ever if it ever came across that strongly in the comics. Maybe it does. I don't know. It certainly does in the cartoon. I'd say that. It's kind of messed up. It's kind of messed up the aftermath of what happened. It's like they're like it doesn't seem like no one really cares about the events that have transpired. I want to do another. I'm gonna do another layer here of shadow. Let's see how that goes. Freaking Donald Pierce. Yeah, he has something. I don't know. I don't really know. I can't remember. I know they were when they were in the outback when they had their little outback base. They were involved in some way, shape, or form, but I didn't actually read that. So it's so complicated. Get this brush here. Let me see. Okay, let's go lower. So I want to get some darkness around the eye, a little bit there. Is that there? Okay, yeah, I guess. I'm not gonna go any darker than this, I think, because we have this, and then I have this on a separate layer. So if it's too much contrast, I can blend this into the color just by changing the opacity. See if there's like a way. I think this could work as is, but I want to be able to adjust it just to make sure. You know, I'm gonna look around for some opinions on this when it's done and see. It's definitely something that I'm going to try to make work somehow. I shouldn't try to sketch it in because that's just going to make it darker and darker. Just do it all in one go. Still, I think I only started using the burn in the Dodge tool fairly recently, so I don't want to sink into old habits here and try to sketch in the color because that's not gonna come out right on burn and Dodge. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I remember what I was saying earlier. I wanted to add more shadow here. Not there. I have to go back a couple layers. Okay. See that? I don't want that to be a problem here. You have to go further. Okay, since it's on that layer, I should be able to just erase it then. I'm just trying to get rid of this because I don't want that to. If I try to color it now, that's always going to be there. So I need to erase that. I messed up. That was the sketching. Oh, wait, hold on. We got more. No problem. Just do that. We're going to get there. Okay, now I want to be on this layer. Or do I? I want to be on this layer. Yeah. Okay, it's not going to show if they're there. I should have done this on the first try. Because now, what? No. Oh, that's interesting. I think that's from what I just erased. All right, we're not going to do it on that layer. We're going to do it on this layer. Nope, it's still there. Okay. Okay, we're going to do it on this layer. Sorry about that. There's still some things I don't understand. I don't understand why that happens quite yet. But I'll figure it out one day. We'll just blend that in. It's on the top layer, so it's fine. Okay, I guess it's fine. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, I'm going to add darker shadows now. It's primarily in the areas that I've already established with the hatching here. Can make this a little darker. I'm not going to do anything with this because it's not going to be that dark. Maybe back here. I might adjust that hatching on the face there. That might not be needed. Or I might just leave it. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be super accurate. It's very, very semi uh, realism. I don't want to do photorealism. I feel like that would be kind of boring. Just uh, basically just copying whatever I'm looking at here. In the case of the webcomic, it'll be the meshes that I create. But The meshes are somewhat realistic, but I don't think I'll go that far in the final product. I want to have some stylistic choices as far as the character looks and designs and whatnot. I just want to make sure the proportions are okay. Now I know I added a dark shadow already right here. I'm gonna add a little bit more there, and maybe for the eye, a bit here. And then once I start doing the light with the dodge tool, can finish doing that with the eyes and the hair and whatnot. Now, um, no, that's too much. I'll leave it. Go around the hair a little bit. Get a nice shadow around the hair. I don't want to make the shadows too heavy because she's outside and the bob, it doesn't cover that much. Kind of has her head cocked to the side, so there's a little bit more shadow on this side than that side. At least that was the idea going into it. It could be wrong, but it's okay if it's not. I'm not super. That's a very minor thing. I just really wanted to make sure that the proportions are okay, and I think they are. But let me know if they're not. I am definitely open to criticism. One place that I can count on for criticism is I posted my art on Newgrounds. I never really got any criticism on DeviantArt when I posted there. And I don't think I want to post my art on DeviantArt anymore anyway. I never really liked that site, to be honest. Even though it was a site that I've gone to for a long time. I don't know. It was just I wasn't really into it. But there were some great artists on that site. I just feel like that site's not really for me. But I might consider going back there. I just don't know. Like I don't know. I'm really on the fence about it, to be honest. So I'm gonna add some. I'm just gonna keep adding heavier shadows here, where I believe they should be. One day I'll make a mesh of this character. This character is not in the webcomic. It's like a whole other thing. The original story that I made in the '90s is a sequel to the web comic that I'm currently working on. I guess as in one takes place after the other. There's some events that overlap, but they're really just different stories. But they're in the same universe. I made my own little universe. I hope that I'll get to share it one day. I hope it'll be something that someone out there will enjoy in some way, shape, or form. Maybe if they're bored, need something to read, maybe they can read this. Maybe I want. Do I want more? See, I don't. Yeah, I don't want to make it look like she has like. Well, I kind of failed in that regard. I didn't really design this character with big boobs, but the way that I shaped the character here makes it look like that. So I kind of failed in that regard. Whoops. Sorry, I didn't mean it. I swear. But I don't want to make the shadows too heavy because it's gonna really make them look bigger. Um, so I'm not gonna put any more shadow down there. Maybe we'll look at the hair. I'm trying to see if I can. I mostly do this with color and the highlight, but because her hair is going to be black anyway, so there's not really much of this that's going to show through the color. It's not going to be a solid black because I have solid black already, unless I decide to change that. But it'll be dark enough. I'm gonna have to shade that part. I kind of just sketch that in. It's very much something that I'm trying not to do here. I'm trying to break that habit of sketching too much. I tend to over sketch things sometimes when I'm doing the line art. My line art is, and I know it's supposed to be the foundation, of your picture, but I feel like it's the weakest thing that I have. So I try to work on that. And I just literally just did it again as I am saying. I'm trying not to do, and I just did it again. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Anyways, um, yeah, it's the I feel like it's the weakest part of my drawing, the lines. But I've been really working on that and trying to undo that habit and unlearn that habit. My sketches aren't as bad as they used to be. You know what I'm gonna do one day is I'm gonna show you because I have like I have everything separate in the layers, so I can show you how I used to sketch things, and it's like very hairy looking sketches. So I would just scratch it in and then try to draw line art, in between all the sketching lines. It's very annoying and unclear, and the lines don't come out right. I don't know. I was just doing it, man. I was just doing stuff. I really could have spent a little bit more time on some of the pieces that I've done in the past. They kind of had, not only was it blurry, but they kind of had like this half measure look to it. I didn't really see it at the time because I was like, whoa, digital art. But after a while, I was like, when I started actually getting better at it and I started looking at my old stuff, I was like, man, what have I done? Why didn't I try to? Why didn't I just try to do it right? And it got to a point where I was like so ashamed of my earlier efforts that I just tried to remove everything from offline and start over. But that's very hard to do on the internet. And someone talked me out of it. So like I was just gonna just delete everything and just start over. It's just like, okay, this is the new start here. Once I got to a certain point to where I was like, okay, this is way better than anything I've done. It was like, why do I have this stuff in my portfolio or post it, on a gallery? I can get rid of all of this and just redraw everything. But sometimes it's nice to see, where you started, and it really helps other people too. I think seeing that. I know there were some times when I was like when I saw people who posted online, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is great, and there's some stuff here, but they enjoy what they do, and then you don't see them for a bit, and then they come back. I don't know. It could be, I don't know. Maybe they were practicing. Maybe they went to school, something, and they come back and they're like 87 times better than they've ever been. And you see where they come from and where they are now, and that's like it kind of gives you the inspiration to keep going. You know, I don't know if I'll have that effect on someone, but um, I think that can be a good thing. Like one of the things that I want to do is show. I actually want to show my old art on this channel at some point, just to really like drive home the fact that I'm trying to get over how it looks. There's only like two things because I don't really draw not safe for work stuff, but I did like two things that I might not be able to show on Twitch like ever. Out of the 14 years I've been doing, not 14 years, yeah, 14 years that I've been doing digital art. Well, it was more like 11, 11 or 10 because I took 3 years off to write my story. I didn't do any drawing when I was writing my story. I did a very little at the beginning when I was like, you know what, let me just focus on the story for a bit. And then I took that time and just wrote. I just wrote everything whenever I was supposed to draw, I would just write instead until that was done. It took me like 3 years to write an entire volume of story, which I'm still editing, and then I started drawing again. Let's see, just looking, and I might have to start doing the background now, just so it all fits. Oh yeah, I got to do the. I'll probably save the highlights for tomorrow. Let's see here. I'm gonna do them right now because I'm starting to run out of time here. Got. I'll probably stay on for another 20 or 30 minutes. Yeah, we'll go ahead and put in color in the background. Since it's behind, I should be able to just do that. There we go. And now, let's see. Can I duplicate this layer? I mean, of course I can, but should I? That's the real question. Okay, increase the brush size here, and I'm gonna start with that bush to the right there, and just try to put in some of the shadow. Oh, look at that weirdness there. Oh, what the heck's going on there? Uh, I'm gonna blur. I'm not gonna put a lot of effort in the background. I'm just gonna try to do it and then blur it and see how it turns out. And I didn't put any thought into the background, to be honest. I just knew she was gonna be outside, and that was it. And I made this really weird looking tree. I think what I'm gonna do is uh I'm gonna paint the background in and then just get rid of the lines and then blur it so you have a general idea that there's a background and see how that looks. And I'll just make them not visible. If it doesn't work, then I can just revisit or revisit invisible, make it visible. Hmm. I think this will be all shadow. Let's see. How about we just create a shadow here? This giant window. You ever feel like you don't have enough space to work in? Get these big window here. It's kind of weird sometimes. You know, just don't know why they. I guess I could take the brush off and put it like all the way like on another monitor. I have another monitor here, but then I got to go all the way over and I don't know. I don't really want to do that. And then there's the shortcuts. I do have the shortcuts, but I need my keyboard nearby. Just go Shift B to go to the brush, or let me see, Shift. Let me see, was it Control? No, Shift. Oh, yep. Normally I do that, but I just did not do that today because I'm just didn't do it. Let's see, do a window here. I'll just keep coloring this in as I work on darker shadows. And we still got to do the light, but I don't want to go. I don't want to go too far into this without putting in the background. Might need to erase those though. We're just going to put in some shadow here. Oh, here's a mountain range. I guess I can put that in. I'll go around the buildings for the time being. I was going to start off with an animation, but I felt like I needed to learn to relearn how to draw, so I just kept drawing, and I put off this like putting this story out, a story anyway, out in some shape, in some way, in some kind of form. I felt like if I tried to do an animation, it wouldn't come out right, and I kind of had some foresight. Like maybe I'm not. I don't think I'm not good enough. I'm not. Like, I don't have enough skill currently to try to do an animation. This was like in 2010. I was thinking this. Let me improve my drawing skill a little bit. You know, there's a small part of me that wishes I had done that for just anything that I drew. Just just don't post anything right now for like a couple years until. But I don't regret it. It's just sometimes I when I look at what I've done, I'm like, well, I could have like just hung back a little bit longer, But like I said, I was very excited in posting. It was something I've never done, so I was like, yeah, all right, I'll get critique in some way, and I did, and it was very helpful too. It wasn't anything bad. I don't think there was anyone out there that was like very uh like they didn't like bash my art, but they gave me enough to set me on the path to try to do better, which is good. I think it was more self critique that drove me to want to just delete everything, and it's something that I've done before too, because I've made little comic books in back in the day of this same exact story. Like I was trying to just get it down on a paper somewhere, but it always didn't come out right for whatever reason. There was problems with the art, and then there was critique from my friends, like, "Oh yeah, I don't know about this," and I kept destroying the comics. I was like, "No, you're right. It needs to be better." And I don't think they wanted me to destroy them. I was just something that I did, um, because I don't know. I guess I was trying to be a perfectionist or whatever, but I didn't think of myself as a perfectionist, but I think that's probably the what best described my actions in drawing in my younger days. Like, oh, that was a building. I always try to be like do it as best as I could, and for the most part, that's what I try to do. And then I would like a piece of like some light would shine through the paper, and I can see how crooked the drawing actually was. You ever done that? I'm like, oh no, that's not right, and just try to do it again and again and again. And then I was experimenting with other styles. Like I think I like Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and even Rob Liefeld had a big influence on my art for a while, and then it was Yoshitaka Amano and uh what's his name, Yoji Shinkawa. Like I started paying attention to their work more as I got older, and the artists of of Final Fantasy as well. The ones that I suggested to 99, Nomura and the other guy, I can't remember his name right now. I like their art too. I was really big into the Tekken art, like the Tekken and SNK art too, like the that style. It's like a somewhat like an anime style a bit or a manga style. I like that stuff too. I tried to mix all that into my own style for a while, and then eventually I just didn't really draw any anime at all for a long time. I kind of want to revisit it one day. Just try to make my own anime style. I'm not really sure what would constitute that. I guess just draw the eyes different. I don't know. Like I don't want to do a style that's already people are already doing, but because you kind of have to make something that's your own, especially now these days with the whole AI thing. People are just making stuff in other people's styles. But um, I want to take a crack at it one day. New style, not pointy hair. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think well, shonen still do that, don't they? I'm not to smudge that line. Don't shonen still have pointy hair? I'm pretty sure they do. Boruto, that the new generation Naruto, Boruto. They really didn't. I feel like they really didn't stray too far from the original, huh? Naruto. Okay, we'll just change one letter and make the same story again. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't want to assume anything. I don't want to assume that's what they did, but that's what it sounds like they did. It just sounds that way. That might not be the case though. So don't take that as a critique or anything. I've never actually seen anything regarding Boruto. I just know some things here and there. I've never seen it. Yeah, it just seems like they're just doing it all again. I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. I don't know why it's flickering like that. I've never seen it or tried to watch Boruto. Yeah, we just played the games, right? I'm pretty sure they got a Boruto game now. So it wouldn't surprise me if they have a Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. I'm not opposed either. Just never gave it a chance. I did that like the game. Like I bought the game. I bought how I got into Naruto was well, actually no. I was visiting home. I was visiting my I came back here to visit when I was traveling. I was doing a lot of traveling and I caught an episode of one of the I think it was either the tuning exam. Well, actually it was the tuning exam. But I think I saw their first mission. It was supposed to be like a C rank, but they ended up fighting like some kind of A or S rank ninjas or something. And Sasuke was on the ground with a bunch of shuriken in his body, and I'm like, what happened? I'm like, what is going on here? Like that's where I came into, and then I saw the tuning exams, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. So then when I left again, I saw Ultimate Ninja Storm Heroes for PSP, and I bought that, and that's how I got into it. And then when I was playing the game, I was like, who are these characters and what's happening? And I want to see more of this, so I did, and I started reading and watching the manga. By the time I decided to read, I think they were just about to come out with Shippuden, I think, in America, the cartoons, and that was they were there was a little bit that was a little slow as far as how they were progressing the anime. So I started reading the manga, and the manga was a little bit further along. So I just caught up to where I was, and then just kept going. And yeah, it was interesting. I'm not really I was casually a fan of it. I was mildly interested in what was going to happen, but it wasn't something that I was like gung ho for. Just something I followed every now and then. It was all right though. I didn't really like the way it ended. or some of the decisions that were made in regarding the story, but it was okay, I guess. Overall, it was okay. Casual fan, yeah. Multiplayer was everyone in one room. Yeah. I didn't realize that you guys were simultaneously playing the console versions, which are way better than the PSP version. I remember I told Typo that I was like, yeah, I got that for PSP. Also, Ninja Store Heroes. He was like, why are you? He's like, why are you playing that? It's like this way better on the console. I was like, oh, all right, well, I'll play it. I played it. Played it. It was right though. It was better on the console. So very very bare bones, which is kind of weird because they had games in on PSP that were like full blown PS2 games basically. So it was kind of weird that they didn't have all the content in that game that they had in on the console. I feel the same way about Naruto as I feel about Bleach. I've never even gotten to Bleach. I know it's a whole thing. I know it's a whole investment, kind of like One Piece, but um, and you see, there's some. I just sketched those buildings in. I'm going to have to fix that. Um, you know what? I'm not going to even color those in. Just vicariously playing and understanding that through you guys. Yeah, I had got some things from the games as far as story. I was like, oh yeah, these guys. So when they showed up in the when they actually showed up in the anime when I as I was watching it, I kind of understood what was going on. The games don't really explain too much though. You get an idea of what's happening. It was like, oh, okay, this Pain. Who is this Pain fellow? Okay, yes, this guy. This guy's he's got a bone to pick with Leaf Village, I guess. You know, things like that. What anime is it where the guy powers up just by turning his sword around? Isn't that Rurouni Kenshin? Because he would use the blunt end of his blade because he was swore not to kill anyone anymore, and he's a really good killer. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rurouni Kenshin, yeah, I remember that. You know when it was a Samurai X at first, and then they came out with Rurouni Kenshin. Yeah, I was fairly interested in that for a while. Samurai Showdown hair, yeah, yeah, with the red hair, yeah. Like he stopped being a killer and he was all like a kind of like a pacifist, I guess, like a technical pacifist. Like he still got into fights, but he wouldn't kill anyone. I kind of have some like elements of that in my story, but that's basically what his stance was on it. But because of his reputation, people would come and try to kill him. Like, oh yeah, yeah, I want to, I'll be the best if I take this guy out or something like that. I don't know. I don't actually remember much about Rurouni Kenshin besides the bare bones information about it. But that was pretty much the gist of the story. It's like, okay, why don't you just get rid of the sword altogether, then try to live that way? But then you wouldn't have a story. So, and honestly, I felt like if I were in his shoes, I would do the same thing. I was like, okay, I know what I did. All right, like I don't want to kill anyone, but I don't want to die either. So yeah, I get it. I get it. I get the thing behind it, but you got to be doing something wrong when people keep finding you and fighting you, right? There's something that's got to change at that point. I feel I feel like there's a certain responsibility that falls on you if that keeps happening to you. I'm gonna save it now. I think Let's see. You know what? Let me redo these leaves. I don't think these leaves are right. I'll probably just revisit that again tomorrow because we are about to end it. I want to make sure that the all the shadows match here. I'm just winging it. I don't have a reference for this. But I think it's coming along so far. We still have to do the highlights. I just wanted to get the background in there before I got too far. And do the clouds and whatnot tomorrow with the highlights. So make sure that's the lines. Let me close that. Well, I don't even know why that's open. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see something. Big brain. I think yeah, it looks like I feel like the lighting's okay. I think it'll be all right. I said I kind of wish I had a mesh for this, but that'll come someday. At least I could use this to determine how I want the character to look if I ever, whenever I get to a chance to doing that. I won't have to draw this character at all in the comic, but because she's not in the comic, she's actually in the animation that I have playing. I was thinking about doing like giving her her own story too, because she's not a main character in the other story that I made. She's like one of the other like supporting characters. But I had this idea that I was thinking about lately. It's kind of why I'm drawing this character now, as I copy and paste vertices and whatnot. I'm approaching the halfway point. I don't know. I'll think of something. If I finish this before that, then you'll see another digital art thing. But let's see. Is there anything else that I want to do before I stop? No, I don't think so. I think we'll just probably just call it here for now. I will be back tomorrow. I want to thank everyone who's watching the VOD or on YouTube or live. Thank you for stopping by. We're going to try to continue this tomorrow. Still working on the mesh. We'll get there though. It'll be same ish time tomorrow. So I'll see you then. If you